Spatchcock Nation is in the house. Unfiltered, uncensored, and unapologetically for the people. Turn it up. What's up, y'all? It's time to get after it at the After Party by Spatchcock Funk. We are about to talk about some cool shit with one of the coolest cats I know, someone I enjoy getting after with it, and also that I've also enjoyed an after party or two with as well, as some cool adventures. So without any further ado, the great Alexander DeRosa.
What's up, dude? We have a lot of after parties specifically that I remember hanging out with you.
Yeah, one of my
One
favorites.
that we probably shouldn't mention who was there, but either way, it was like a 6 or 7 a.m.er. It wasn't actually even a party. It was just kind of like a Q&A. We just questioned the shit out of him.
We had a professional sports coach join us for a late night party, and every 5 minutes we kept handing him beers and making him give us pregame speeches. He was getting quite sick of that.
He thought it was a party, but it was just the two of us and one other person, and it turned into it was like Matt like questioning him how his pregame speech is. We asked him about everything. He was pretty uncomfortable, but it was fun.
It was great. And we were wearing like suits and tuxes and stuff. And he's like,
you also like, you were in the hitting mode when you like drink too much and you hit people. You were like picking them up. And
I was giving, well, first of all, I don't think it's drink too much. I think it's drink enough. And then, cause then I'm affectionate. I'm giving hugs, kisses, you know what I mean? Headbutts here. They're like, oh, dude, like, let's go. You know? So, I mean, some people's love language is gifts and listening and acts of service. Mine is headbutts and shoulder shrugs. You know what I mean?
And your wedding ring right to the forehead.
Yeah.
My favorite.
Yeah. I want to get a wedding ring with spikes on it for that sole purpose.
Yeah.
Because someone will hang out. Like, oh my God, you've got a bunch of bruises on your face. You must be friends with Matt Reed. That's awesome.
I don't think I'd hang out with you after like 11 p.m. if that was the case.
That actually, for people listening or watching at home, we do not advocate domestic violence in any way. So let me just put that out there. But sometimes
just hitting and headbutting your friends.
Yeah, but affectionately so. You know what I mean? Like love taps. So speaking of love, we've got someone joining us today that we want to show a lot of love to. Now, this human being has done it all, particularly in being a Gen Z person, millennial-esque world traveler, super fun, super fashionable, great sense of humor, incredible sense of adventure, and a baller entrepreneur. This person has done a bunch of really cool shit, man. So working with brands like Stetson, they've been a growth marketer, brands like Minerva, brand marketers for big old places, founded her own media agency, Chau Media. You can find this on the gram. You can find them working and throwing baller parties with cool brands all across New York City. You can see her killer Instagram itself, Chau for Now. And this is the great Chau Mui. Come on board, baby. Let's party.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Chau.
What's up? First of all, I love the name of the agency and the fact that like it's our dream to just throw parties for brands. So like, you know, we've tried and we've thrown a couple pretty awesome parties for brands, but like not at the level you're doing it. How awesome is that?
Thank you. Well, I mean, I guess you could say went to college because it was the #1 party school, which was SUNY Albany. And I think it just kind of followed through. I think I really, really love community and getting people together. So I started a blog a couple of years ago and it said, hey, if you want to start getting followers, throw parties. And it just hasn't stopped since then.
Is SUNY Albany the #1 party school? I mean, I've heard that name, that title get thrown around quite a bit.
So it wasn't actually officially the #1 party school because it was ranked by Playboy as a #1 party school, or they said that it's not even in the list because they are superior compared to all the other colleges.
I love it. And first of all, the Greyhound administration at U Albany right now is probably like, oh man, what they should do is they should put you on TV commercials because that's the ultimate recruiting thing. Come to the #1 party school and get a job throwing parties and having, I mean, that's dope. That's what they should do.
That's right. I mean, listen, they have a multi-million-dollar school for nanotechnology. Really, it should be about parties.
Totally. I mean,
I think those people party too.
You know, that'd be cool.
They know how to party, the nanotechnology people.
I'm
sure that's on the brochure.
Let's party with particles.
But you know what though? You can't spell party without particles, right? Does that work? No?
See that? Okay, so now I think we've got a whole idea where we go to Albany, we become their marketing agency for the nanotechnology. We do party without particles, and then we got our whole business. You bring Spatchcock up there, and you guys will throw the party, and they'll help you guys make it happen.
Love it. We actually, you know what, Chau, we threw this party for these great people, the Griffiths Institute of Technology. They have like they bring in people like top level Department of Defense people doing all this crazy shit, and they have us like at this soiree like make cocktails and like do a big cooking demo and a food demo, and they're all like super badass like CIA type people, and we're like making these jokes, and they don't love our jokes. Like we were walking into a privately secured area with our friend Nick, who works in the show. He appears on our shows, and they're like, "Are you guys cool?" I'm like, "Do we need a security clearance?" They're like, "We think you're all right." I'm like, "Okay, come on, comrade." And I thought that would be funny, and the security guard had no interest in that joke whatsoever.
They're way too serious. He's like actually like giving you an ocular pat down when this all happens.
Oh, for sure.
It's like a room full of the smartest people, and they're like talking about, I mean, literally the craziest stuff. And they're like, "We're gonna bring on a special guest," and Matt goes up on stage and makes just joke after joke. And I think a lot of them like thought they were funny. They just didn't know they could like they weren't planning on laughing at all that day. So they were like, "Oh, this is odd. This is an odd group." But it was so weird at that moment that we're like, they're saying Spatchcock Funk in front of all these physicists. Like
then they started to love it. Like they were like they're awesome people, super smart.
Yeah,
we love going back to every year. And they also had like naval test pilots in there, like with code names and stuff like that. Then they're coming and hang out with us. Like it was wild because at first we're like, we're so dumb and these people are all smart and like superhero like people. And later on we're like drinking and like laughing and trying on helmets and everything. There's pictures up in front of like test jets. It was like, wow, man, this shit got sideways quick.
Oh, damn. You want to hear about the craziest New York story I've heard that involves drinking and a pilot?
Yes.
So in the 1930s, there's this guy who got super drunk at like a bar in Harlem, and someone bet him. And he was like, "Oh, I can fly planes, blah, blah, blah." And someone was like, "I bet you can't." And he goes, "Watch me." So he went to Jersey and stole a small personal plane and flew it and landed it in Harlem, like on 136th Street. Landed it, made it, and they were like, "Oh my God, this is so awesome." He did not get arrested because the owner was so impressed. 2 years later, he's at the same bar. He tells someone this story, and he's like, the other guy's like, "I dare you to do it again." So he did it a second time.
What?
Yeah. So listen, so the whole premise of this conversation is you guys need to get these pilots drunk and get them to land a passenger plane in Harlem.
Hell yeah. That is a brilliant idea. I love it.
I just like any plane in the area of New York City, I feel like is just taken down. I mean, this was a long time ago, but like we had them on runways. Like we could have probably flown the plane at Griffiths. Like there was enough runway space where I feel like I could have landed it maybe. Not safely, but probably not hurting it.
I would have. I mean, you would have got it back on the ground. That's for sure. I just don't know.
So Griffiths,
it landed.
The Griffiths Institute is at the location of where Woodstock 99 was.
Oh.
And so the big, the Air Force Base and all kind of the runway and the big field is all where Woodstock happened. So the area we were actually in was where like Moby had like the crazy, like, I don't know, EDM tent and EDM festival after, where like someone drove a truck into. Like we're all sitting there like, this is where this happened. And it's a subject they don't like to bring up very often, but it was cool for us.
Yeah, super cool.
Damn, I didn't know that Moby did that or had someone had that happen. So it wasn't in the same area as the original Woodstock?
No, it wasn't. Woodstock 99 was Woodstock what? Original one was what? Bethel, New York?
Yeah. This one, Chau, was the one that like the Netflix documentary is on about like, you know, how sketchy, sexual, assaulty, creepy, like that one, the huge one.
Oh,
and they like lit the place on fire at the end. Like they completely destroyed and it was like a peace festival, and they had this wall that they spent like however many days painting and making it nice, and they tore it down and burned it to the ground.
And Alex was there, so of course that's why that all makes sense now. All the sketchy shit going on.
So Moby didn't drive a truck in. Some crazy person drove this tank in. Like it was a wild festival. So that's why they're not proud of it.
Oh my goodness. I really thought this was going to be something. Yeah. I really thought this was going in a totally different direction.
Well, you know, I want to ask you, because Moby probably isn't proud of that, and most people shouldn't be. But let me ask you this. And I want to hear an answer from both of y'all. but we'll start with you, Chau, because you're far more important and funnier and better looking than Alex is too. But actually, Alex is pretty good looking. So when is the last time you did something for the first time?
My goodness, I feel like every day. And I say that because, I am an entrepreneur. I'm a founder of an agency that I'm doing something new every single day, figuring out how to get more clients, figuring out how to pitch myself, figuring out how to not embarrass myself, in front of in a pitch or a presentation. So I feel like that you're doing something new every single day. But something totally new for the first time that is not work related. I went surfing for the first time in about a year ago. And that was a very cool experience because I'm from New York, I'm from Brooklyn. So I can my swimming is just horrendous. So getting out there in the water and getting on a surfboard was a really cool experience.
Where were you surfing?
It was in Costa Rica.
So wetsuit, no wetsuit?
No wetsuit. It was okay, so let me tell you something. So my group of friends, we are very much yes, adventure people. I'm whatever, we'll just freaking YouTube it. We'll just figure it out. So I have a friend who he does some surfing. He's like, you don't need a lesson. We'll just get some boards. I'll just teach you. We'll just practice on the ocean, on the beach for a couple of minutes, and then we'll go out. It'll be easy. I was like, all right, let's do this. Worst advice ever, because I'm out there, doing a pop-up is, when you get up and stand up on the surfboard, you need a lot of core strength. You need to be able to know how to swim. You need to be able to know how to avoid seaweed and all this shit. So I'm getting up there and you're in the white water. So it's the waves are crashing on you. You're getting pushed back. And it was total torture, but I absolutely loved it. And so now I've been taking surfing classes to figure out how I can do that.
And Costa Rica, which my wife and I think are going to Costa Rica in the next year or so. But surfing there, are you worried about sharks or not? Is that a concern in Costa Rica surfing?
Nah. I don't know.
Not at that time it wasn't. Yeah.
You're not looking for me.
Fuck it. They'll if they show up, they show up. I love it.
Yeah, just YouTube it. How to get away from sharks. It's cool.
I learned how to rock climb from a YouTube video as well. So
I love it.
You can do everything from YouTube.
I agree.
Surfing sounds incredibly, as you described, incredibly hard. Even if you can swim, it doesn't. I feel as soon as you hit one of those waves, it just takes you off. Because you got to have like you said, core strength, balance. As soon as you're on that board, it's the closest I've done is water skiing.
Oh my God.
When I was younger though, I haven't done it in years, but I was pretty good at it right away.
You're a good athlete.
You did it right away?
Yeah, it took me a little bit to get up, and then I ended up slaloming, where you put your one foot in the back, you throw your one ski off, and then but then it gave to the point where I don't know that I could do it now, but when you fall, it's the worst because your skis can hit you in the head, it's just a disaster. So I tried to just not fall and stay up as long as I can, but I don't know that I could do it these days. I think my balance is a little different.
When's the last time you did something for the first time, Alex? Because you actually,
went first. I should have went first on this answer because her answer is pretty good.
Hold on, because I want to hear your answer. But you're not giving yourself credit. You're a really good natural athlete, which pisses me off sometimes. How quickly you can pick stuff up. But also, I know it took you 6 days to figure out how to snap, and you're just couldn't stop. People thought you were having a tick or something like that. So what's your answer?
So I still don't know how to. I can snap. I still don't know how to whistle. But when I was working, I don't know, it was 10 years ago now, I was in this group of 5 people at work, and we were just talking. It was every day you're just it was just having a conversation, and they realized I couldn't snap. And I'm I don't know. I just was never taught. And they're well, we weren't taught to snap. You just learn how to snap. And I'm so they all taught me how to snap. And it's pretty easy now, but it seemed super hard at first. So
wait, how old were you when this happened?
I don't want to say. No, it was 30. 30. Yeah. Maybe 28, 25,
no.
10, probably 10. I'll go with 10.
No, you were working full time. Do I have to go to your LinkedIn and figure this out?
Because probably 25, 28. It's 10 years ago.
28,
so, So yeah, that's not my answer, but I mean, I've never made a cooking a TV show before, so that's been a wild experience and a lot of fun. Um, I don't know, like adventure stuff. Like I don't do that craziest things like surfing. I would love to surf though. I think I could do it.
Well, first of all, the TV show answer is good, but Chow is a winner chicken dinner for two reasons. Surfing is cooler than making a TV show, and I will say too, the explanation though about like doing something new every day, I think is super awesome, and I think that's speaks to your spirit, Chow, and it makes me think of I had the pleasure of meeting the new Syracuse University football coach Fran Brown the other day, and he talked about this thing where he said, "Do anything like you do everything." Like the little things, take your little things, the big things care themselves. And you talking about that right there just kind of got me right in the feels with the goosebumps. And then Alex is like, I tried to figure out how to snap. So
Snapping would have been a good answer if I did it the other day. It was just too long ago.
yeah.
By the way, how long have you guys known each other?
Probably before I could learn to snap, we met. So like probably 12 years ago. I don't know.
I definitely sense the best friend camaraderie, roasting each other, keeping each other. And I am here for it. I love it.
Yeah, it's been a while, and we on our shoots we try to keep that the same thing. We do shoots and we spend all day together. I mean, that was the whole premise of our show is like, let's just like I had some, I have the video background, Matt cooks, like let's just go and shoot some stuff. And at the least, if no one ever watches one video, we get to hang out and drink and eat good food all day together. So
yeah,
luckily people watched it a little bit,
We do have a pretty awesome time. And I think that's why the show, at least for now, I mean, we're in season 1, why it's working is because it's not fake. And people are like, oh shit, I would hang out with those guys too. Apparently not though, not for Alex telling me that I headbutt everybody whenever I have like a drink or two.
Wait, but you headbutt people?
Yeah, but it's like a loving headbutt. You know what I mean? Like this. Like, oh, dude, you're so cool. I love you, dog.
it's like right at the end of the night, he just gets like touchy feely, like he wants to hug you, like he likes hugging people, and then he does this thing like you're my best friend. And he hits you, like kind of taps you on the head, and with his wedding ring hits you, and you're just kind of like, okay, dude, but it's all in love,
Yeah. Oh man,
I love it.
Okay, so you know what? We've got other questions for you. One thing though that you're pushing me more onto on this, and man, you're just super fun to hang out with. I wish we were like in Brooklyn right now hanging out, but the stupid internet, right? So here's my question for you. How important is it, and how do you kind of push yourself out of your comfort zone? Like, I feel like you're the type of person that there is no like wall for you. You know what I mean? There's no like outside the envelope because there's no envelope. Tell us about that mentality for you.
Okay, so this is a little bit of a long question, a long answer, which is ever since I was growing up, I don't know where this was instilled in me. Maybe this is because, first gen, I'm a child of immigrants. And like, it was always instilled like, if the door's not there for you, you have to build your own door. So I always felt like I probably wouldn't have an opportunity anyway. So I just got to make my own. Just because I didn't look like everyone. My name is, weird at the time when I was growing up. So I always had this thought, like conviction that you just got to figure it out on your own. So I've always kind of been trying to build something of my own. And when I was 22, I really loved comedy. And I was like, I'm going to take a hand at like stand-up comedy. Speaking of trying something new for the first time, I went and I did improv. I did stand-up. I like would go up on stage and absolutely bomb. And I bombed so badly and so horrendously. But after I bombed, people were still like, you did good. Like, like nothing bad happened. They were like, you tried. Like, that's the effort. That's what matters. And I felt like after that of like, completely looking like a dumbass in front of other people and realizing that nothing happens after that, it kind of gave me the confidence to know to feel like I'm very okay looking like I don't know what I'm doing because I'm figuring it out and it's only going to get better. So to answer your question, it's coming from knowing that if I fail, I'm going to be resilient enough to figure out how to improve or what to do next. I think about it like as like a growth mindset. So it's just one of the things you have to keep doing to get to where you want to be.
That's a great answer. I have to ask you though.
Mhm.
So going back, you just went up to the stage of your friends and family there, and you just started spitting jokes, and no one was laughing. Like, what happened there? Because that's like the scariest thing to do. I would never. That was like the worst thing. Like people, like open mic night and stuff, but like just to do comedy is hard.
Oh, and open mic night is horrible because open mic night is like at 5 o'clock. It's like in the West Village at like the basement of, I think it's like the Village Lantern. It's 5 o'clock. So the only other people there are other comics who are just going to go practice their bits. So they're not really listening to you. So the first time I go, I invited all my friends to come, and they just smoked weed before they came, and they were wicked high. So that when I finally got on, I mean, they were laughing before I even made the punchline. So I just had really supportive friends. And another time I went up, I was not ready, and I like blanked on what my bit was. And literally in the middle of my set, I go, I'm sorry, guys. I really don't want to be here anymore. Like on stage to the whole audience. And I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I thought that people were going to boo me off stage, but instead people started to clap and they said, you can do it. Come on, you can do it. And it was such a lovely feeling of feeling supported and being like, okay. And then I was able to do it afterwards, but of just other comics who were just really supportive. So that
What was your main joke? Like, give us one joke. What was one of your funniest jokes?
Oh, okay. So this is a little bit aging myself a little bit, but it was probably about 10 years ago. Taxi cabs would never drive to Brooklyn if you were in the city. They would just like roll up the window on you. So I think it was one about that. And another one was about how ISIS must have the best telemarketers, because at the time so many housewives from Idaho were getting like recruited to go to the Middle East. And it was like a whole bit about ISIS doing telemarketing.
Wow, that's going hard when you're dropping ISIS jokes in New York City, dude. That's aggressive.
Yeah.
I mean, 9/11 joke in there while you're up there, right? That's pretty aggressive.
I've been in many situations there where we were going to Queens, and the same thing. They did literally like, where are you going, Queens? Nope. And you're like, cool, nothing. So thank God for Uber.
Yeah,
I know.
When I lived there, though, there was no Uber, and you'd have to like lie to the cab, like, oh, we're going to like we're going from Midtown Manhattan, and I lived in the Bronx in Riverdale, so like 242nd Street. But we'd be like, oh, dude, we're going to like the bottom of Harlem, and then once we're in the cab, we're like, psych, we're going to 242nd Street. Get your ass on the highway. And they just pull over and kick us out.
That was the trick. Oh my God, you were far. You were up far.
Yeah, way uptown. You know what I mean? But people are like, oh, you live in the Bronx, like that was hard, dude. Riverdale is like it's kind of a richer, a wealthy Jewish area, and I was like a poor Irish kid, so it was awesome. I loved it. Great human beings, but yeah, way up in the top of the Bronx.
So I got to tell that story. The one way we got around that one time was we were down there, and our friend who lived in Queens got a cab, and he was with some girl he met, and we were visiting him. So it was the two of us and someone else. Like, we got a cab right behind him, and we're like, what's your address? And like, we didn't know it.
In the cab with us too.
Yeah. Like, we roughly knew where he was, but we didn't know the address. So he gets in the cab and they just take off. So we're like, follow that cab. And the guy did for a while, and we kept coming up next to him, and he was like, it was like ridiculous. We're like, Nick, what's your house number? And he just wouldn't answer.
He rolled on the window. We'd be like, dude, where are we going? And he would just laugh at us, and the girl would laugh at us. And we back up, and we're like, what?
We made it there, though. The cab driver was not happy with us, but we made it.
Oh my gosh. So wait, what was the girl doing?
They were having their own moment in the cab.
Oh.
Yeah.
So like they were kind of like doing their thing, and then they would kind of like look up, and we're like, "Hey, what's up, dude? Like, remember us?" And
he's like, "You'll figure it out." Trying to lose us for that matter, you know what I mean? Like,
it probably was
by design.
And we get out, and we're like, "Hey, dude, what's up? Why did you?" He's like, "Oh, I didn't even know you were asking." We're like, "Okay."
Anyway,
after cock blocking.
Yeah, we were. Yeah, we were. I mean, we weren't.
He was trying to bitch you guys.
if we knew where we were going, they could have had 10 babies in the back of that cab, and I would have been cool with it. You know what I mean? So we had to get somewhere. So speaking of going somewhere with new characters, let's ask you a question. And I'd like to hear Alex answer this too, because my answer, I've got a couple choices. But if you could go anywhere, like you have to go anywhere, right? You're gonna go somewhere that you don't know, but somewhere wild and crazy. It's gonna be with a fictional character. So who would you bring and where would you go?
Oh, a fictional character. Okay.
Yep.
I gotta think of my answer now.
So you can't say Alex's mom to Boca Raton because she's not fictional. She's
let me go first, and I'll let you think. I'll let you think about it for a second, because I got one, and it's because I've been watching I have young daughters watching a lot of Disney movies, and I'm a huge fan of The Rock. I'm going to wherever Moana lives on the little surfboard with The Rock's character because he's super cool, and just floating out in the middle of the water. That's where I'd hang out most of the time. What's the guy's name? I don't know his name, but
I forgot his name, but I remember the song.
It's like Maui.
Yeah. What's the song again? I forgot.
That's my choice.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, Maui. Okay. You're welcome. Thank you.
Susan. You're welcome. Oh, Susan. So she is paying attention.
I thought she was just smoking weed and like playing video games. That's our producer who's providing us answers for those that can't see the private chat.
Her computer when we started this, her computer was cooling down from like intense gaming. Like you could hear the fans just like on fire. So
like there was I think there was a fire truck at her house because like the fan, it was so hot. They're like, oh my God, there's a problem here.
Okay, on to your answer. What do you got, Chau?
Yo, my answer is so dumb. Okay, this is the first thing that I came up with. It would be a pterodactyl from Jurassic Park or the movie. Or the book. Oh my God, not Land Before Time. Oh my God, there was this book like Arthur Conan Doyle wrote. I'm totally blanking on it right now. But yeah, so Journey to the Center of the Earth.
Yeah.
It would be hanging out with one of those pterodactyls and seeing what the world looked like. I would love to see what the world looked like with dinosaurs, like in Brazil or like one of the, like I just want to know what it was like.
That's a badass answer. But a pterodactyl would eat the shit out of you. They'd be like, oh shit.
But I'm homies with the pterodactyl.
Oh, okay. You guys
they could ride on its back. It would fly, would show me around.
Yeah, I didn't know we could do that. Like that sounds cool.
That would be
like
pretty
you fly
cool.
around on a dinosaur.
How cool would that be?
That'd be pretty cool.
What would yours be?
I don't know, because those are both really good answers. I think though I'm gonna go with I think Tyrion from Game of Thrones, and we're gonna go bar hopping in like Ibiza with Tyrion from Game of Thrones, or like go to like Running with the Bulls with him or Jamie Lannister. I think we would put it down. You know what I mean? Let me get real.
I feel like you'd be a really good time with anybody. Like I feel like you would get someone I feel like you would get like you and Obama or like a president, any like high ranking official, you would get them like just drunk and having a great time spilling all secrets.
I would definitely get drunk with Obama. Okay, so
if he's listening, maybe he'll come, maybe he'll reach out.
Yo, we were born on the same day, Barack Obama, dude. Let's go, dude.
Oh my gosh.
We're high-ranking officials that you two would party with.
I don't know. Maybe like all the way back to like Abe Lincoln.
Oh, I would
before or after.
Before, like well before, like before he even like considered going to that theater.
He'd like to wrestle in bars. I know that, so that's cool.
Really?
Did you?
Yeah. He was like a famous wrestler. Like they'd argue and drink in bars, and he would wrestle.
Yeah, as the president.
No, this is like way before he ran for Congress and shit. You know, like
WrestleMania.
When he was like a small town pizza lawyer. You know what I mean?
It was WrestleMania 1. Abe Lincoln was like the headliner.
Yeah, he had like you remember how like Kane would come out or like the Undertaker back in the day, and he'd be in his his little like tidy whitey and like his top hat. That'd be his whole uniform.
Totally.
I'm a big Undertaker fan.
Who are you rolling with?
I'm really into New York City local politics, and I just got to meet Mark Levine, who's the Manhattan Borough president, and we did a little like interview series with him. But he's basically an advisor to Well, he runs Manhattan, but he just seems so cool and awesome. So I think I would get him to hang out.
Okay, so that is a cool and awesome answer, and also you're cool and awesome. So actually, I got a question for you that we're trying to figure out. For a lot of people, this is a hard thing, and actually, I'm stealing this question from Susan or Alex. But like in big cities, New York, other places with so many people, even though you grew up there, it's hard to make friends. So, what's your advice for basically doing that? Why is it so hard? How can people go out and just like get new peeps?
I think that's a great question. I think in large cities like New York, there's just so many people, who are transplants. So many New Yorkers are just busy and are like, get the heck out of my face, right? But I think what happens is people try to make friends in random areas, like the bus stop, going to the bar. It's the same as dating. It's like you might meet someone really cool, but like if they're drunk, you might not follow up with them. So one is if you do meet someone really cool when you're out and about, my rule is you have to connect and like hang out within a week, or else that friendship is gonna like dissipate into, for girls, we always have like the drunken bathroom. You meet a really cool girl, you love each other's outfits, exchange contacts, and then nothing happens. So make sure you connect with them if you met someone really cool.
Actually, I've seen you just I want to hear your next rule, but let me verify for everybody else. I've seen you do that in real life. The first time I met you in person was we were having dinner with Ricky Chow. We were having some sake and everything, and we were talking about business. And you and my wife and I were talking. We traded information, and we texted later that night and over the next couple of days. So you practice what you preach. Okay, keep going. Sorry.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Yeah, you got to make sure you make a hangout if they're really cool, because you're gonna forget. And then you're going to feel like awkward reaching out like 2 weeks later. And you're going to be like, should I have, will they remember me? So make sure you do it 7 days. Two of my best friends I've met, like one was on the subway and one was like at a bar. And we just made sure to connect like within a week. The second I would say is meeting people who have the same interests as you. I think a lot about like friendship is best when you have shared values or shared interests. So if you are into sports, you're a lifestyle, you're like very healthy, then maybe meeting someone at a gym or like adult sports league, I think is a great way. And it has to be something that is very regular. It's consistent that you're going to see them. If you're into books, there's book clubs, or there's like local spots. But I also think that a main thing is being proactive, and like when you're meeting people to actually reach out to them and follow up. So
that advice is incredible. And the subway thing is really sticking in my head. So when I lived there, I would take the subway. And I remember this one time I was in the subway and I was single and I saw this attractive woman and we kind of smiled at each other and we made a little bit of a small talk on the train. And I was like, oh man, I should ask her out. And then she got off. This is her stop. And I'm like, I'll see her again tomorrow. Of course, you're never going to see her again. There's like 8 million people there. So flash forward to like 6 months later, I bought this book that I had heard a lot about. And the book is American Psycho. So if you've seen the movie, the book is like way more disturbing. The book's really dark and upsetting.
Where is this going already?
Yeah.
She's
Right,
alive.
so
She's alive.
Subway, and
I
I promised myself after that last experience at the time, like next time I see a woman that I'm having a nice conversation with, I'm gonna ask her out because never gonna see her again. So I get on the subway and I talk to this woman and we're kind of having a nice little fun conversation. And she was like, hold on a second, I just gotta check this one thing. So she stops for a second. So while I'm waiting to the conversation resume, I pull out American Psycho. And I hadn't started reading it yet. And I open the book and she looks at me and then looks at the book and then moved to the other side of the subway car. And I was like, oh my God. So I got home and like the book was so disturbing. Like I would throw it in the garbage and then fish it out like 10 minutes later. But so you having the ability to do that on the subway and make a friend on the subway that's not one of your best friends is absolutely fucking wild. That's super impressive.
Just don't bring American Psycho. I mean, come on.
Yeah, come on.
Like just a bad.
He probably wouldn't be my type of person anyways. You know what I mean?
Okay, so we talked about SUNY Albany, #1 party school. Occasional SU ranks up there quite a bit as the #1 party school, but we'll go with Albany. Well, we want to know more about this trip. So you left and you went to LA and you said 3 months you were driving. Like, tell us about this trip because it's wild to just pick up your stuff and move.
Oh, wow. Okay. I forgot about that trip. When I was in college, I was 19 and I really wanted to be a film director. And in Albany, there was like really nothing that was pertaining to that. My boyfriend at the time wanted to be an actor. And, you know, speaking of building your own opportunities, we were like, maybe we should just go to LA. Like, let's just drive there and make it happen. So we both dropped out of college like the next day or 2 days later, packed up the car. He had like a two-door Hyundai Tiburon. It was like a
Ooh,
two-seater.
those were the shit back in the day. The Tiburons, they were like sports cars.
Yeah. Well, it was a two-seater and like the seats don't recline and we packed it up. So like we were sleeping out of the car in like Walmart parking lots and like sitting upright. But we drove to LA, just saw the whole country. We drove through and met so many people from the Midwest, from all walks of life. And I think that was actually a trip that really taught me a lot about people having different lifestyles and like how much you can learn from people, people's stories, and why it's so important to hear different people's stories. Like we met Mormons in Utah. We met an older couple in Santa Barbara, California, who helped save people's lives during the Holocaust in their youth. Like we met a guy who was like a beatnik poet who was in prison and had just gotten released, which by the way, we should not have been hanging out with, but
I was just gonna say, that sounds dangerous as hell.
yeah, I don't know. When you're young, you're able to be, you know, a little bit more reckless. And I took a little mini DV camcorder and filmed the whole thing. It was like a little documentary and just filming all these interviews, the scenes that we saw. Got to LA and we could not get a job for the life of us. So we were there for a couple of months and we had to drive back all the way to Albany with our tails between our legs.
What is this? Where's this documentary? Did you ever put it together?
I did. And I still have it. I have like on a Vimeo link. It was called Making It. And it's like a 20-minute documentary about our journey from Albany back and forth. But yeah, we submitted it to a film festival in Albany called the Knickerbocker Film Festival, which is run by one of my dear friends, Joe Bonilla, who's up in Albany still. And he runs an agency. But yeah, the movie's still out. It's private. It's a private link. So
because I'm just Googling it right now. I see Making It, an art documentary. I'm like, I'm going to watch this. That is an awesome story. And you're better off for it because now you're a straight up baller.
So did you go the north route or the south route to LA? There's two routes, right?
Oh, also, this is during MapQuest. So there wasn't Google Maps at the time. So I remember we had to print out the map and it literally was like a straight line across from Albany. We went through the middle. And then on the way back,
straight through the middle.
Yeah.
The days with no map, with no phones. Like I took a long trip with Ricky, one of our mutual friends, and we went in college and we did the same thing. We went to New Orleans and just drove. We just drove straight through. And on the way back, we stopped at Myrtle Beach and we were having, and then we ended up getting through a snowstorm and my car broke down on the side of 81. And it was the three of us sitting in the back of the car on the highway. Like, I don't even remember I don't know if we had cell phones. We had to have cell phones. It was a long time ago, but it was like 2:00 in the morning. These trucks were just whipping by us and we were like freezing cold because it was like a snowstorm. And I remember like that trip, I'm like, we don't even know where we are. We don't know how to get home. We don't know how to look up phone numbers. Like we were calling like random. We didn't know where we were. We're next to mile marker 91. That was all we knew.
How did you guys get out of it?
It's like one of our friends, we ended up figuring out where in Pennsylvania we were. And one of our friends that was with us, like happened to have like relatives like 30 minutes away. It was like a wild coincidence. Cause if he didn't, I don't know, like we called a tow truck and they're like, we can bring one of you and your car. And I'm like, can't we all just squeeze in? And he like woke up and he's like, well, I'm bringing my wife with me. I'm like, can you leave her at home so you can bring all of us? Like, it was just such a weird scenario. We made it home. Car lived. We lived. So
wait, so he didn't bring his wife, right?
No, he didn't bring his wife. He ended up towing our car, and the relatives came and picked the rest of us up because he was like not driving us under any. We were gonna hide Ricky in the back of in the trunk. Like, swear to God, we're like, Ricky, you're going in the trunk. We're going to hide. And then there's only 2 of us and we'll just wing it.
I've ridden in the trunk of a car before, though. I mean, it's not the end of the world. So, you know what? You're talking about MapQuest. I have a story for you two that did not happen to me, but and I'm glad it didn't. But it's a wild MapQuest printed out direction story. So a person that good friends with a friend of mine, we were hanging out. He's a super nice guy. Tells a story about he had met this girl at a bar in their city, and I don't want to give away any locations or embarrass anybody. So they're like, "Oh, cool, we should hang out." So he's like, "Yeah," and she's like, "You know what? You should come over to my house and I'll make dinner. We'll have some drinks." So you know, this is like probably pre like text message everything. So that's cool, man. He goes over there, and while he's there, things are like moving along. The dinner's nice, whatever, and they're getting super flirty, and it seems like there's engaging. And all of a sudden, like he realizes, like his stomach, like he's got a problem, like he's got a real problem, and not like he's gonna throw up, but he feels like he's gonna like poop his pants. And he's like, I can't like blow up this girl's bathroom. Like I'm trying to like, you know, make some magic here. I don't know what to do. Like this is really bad. And he's freaking out. So he's like, I'm so sorry. This is so much fun. I forgot I have this thing. I got to go. Instead of saying like, I'm not feeling well, he's like, I got to go. So he jets and he gets in the car and he's driving up the street. And like 4 doors down from her house, he can't take it. He's going to shit his pants. So he opens up his car door and doesn't have anything to wipe with. So he grabs the MapQuest directions that have her address on it and goes to the side of a house and basically takes down his pants like Friday style and just takes a shit on the side of the house, wipes his ass, and throws it on the stuff. So a couple of days later, he's like, why didn't you ever call me? And she calls him and she's like, what the hell? My neighbor found whatever the address on the side of the house.
Oh, it was her address sitting on.
Oh my God. That is so freaking gross.
I gotta know who this is now. Is it someone I know?
And no, it's not someone you know. And normally, like I do not. I like all sorts of dirty jokes and everything. I hate toilet humor, and I don't like to roll that route. But that story is awesome. I mean, not for me, you know, but that's crazy.
So nothing ever happened between them, though, right?
From what I understand, and I only spent like a day with this dude, but he was a really nice guy. So yeah, he's like, yeah, she's the one that got away, and I like that. That's the
one that got away. Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Oh man.
So okay, so let's move forward. Tell us about this agency. Tell us how you started this because it's so cool. We both worked at agencies and worked with some brands, and you know, the fact that you're focused on this specific market and this specific like audience is really, we know a lot of brands struggle with this. I worked at Syracuse University in the past, and it's like you're always, you know, you're trying to market to everybody, and brands don't do a good job with it. So why did you start this, and how is it going?
Sure. So it started as a newsletter and website called Chau Magazine. By the way, I called it Chau because I wanted it to feel like a big hug. And growing up, I'd always have to tell people my name was Chau, like Chau. So it was memorable, and it always invoked this feeling of like Chau, like big hug, you know? So it was a website all about New York City, all about local New Yorkers, mom and pop shops, and really highlighting and empowering New Yorkers here, which, you know, are some of the most diverse communities in the country. Sure. So doing that, I was also doing a lot of parties and events. Like I was telling you, like we did drunken dumpling tours, trivia nights, comedy shows. And just because of my age, it just very naturally leaned towards millennials and Gen Zers. So in 2019, it started off, it was really blowing up. I think we hosted over 100 events the first year. We had thousands, like probably 2,000 or 3,000 people come between all the events. Some of them were much smaller events, some were larger. And during COVID, we had to shut down our events overnight. So we really pivoted to this model of like educating and supporting New Yorkers about what was happening with the vaccine, what's happening with, you know, getting outdoor dining, how to stay safe, like what's happening with city policy. Here's what you can do with pandemic unemployment. And just a lot of content that was for local New Yorkers, that was on social, that was just really informational and approachable and not so complicated as you would from like a government press release. And we really started to blow up a little bit around there, and our community started saying, we love how you guys are making the information digestible. So our own community started hiring us to be doing marketing for their clients and their companies. So yeah, we started off doing like small campaigns. Our first project and client was Big Brothers Big Sisters of New York City. Shout out to Aaron. And it was about getting more millennials civically engaged and to become mentors. And it started with like one campaign, and we've worked with them for the past 4.5 years now. And
so when you started this, it was you and your partner, or just like two of you that were doing all these events?
Yeah. Yeah. And we just had a strong, so prior to that, I was working in advertising for 8 years. I was a director's rep, which is, you know how an actor has an agent? It's the same thing for directors for television commercials. So
really?
Yeah, so my job was to go to all the ad agencies around the country and like pitch and present and be like, hey, come work with us and our directors. And, in these rooms, I was very much the only woman, or oftentimes the only person of color. And I felt like there was it was really important to get more inclusivity in the creative space. So this kind of tied hand in it with like wanting to showcase more of these stories in New York City, which eventually pervade itself into what we do now, which is we help brands connect with millennial and Gen Z audiences. And a lot of that work surrounds inclusivity and creating campaigns that highlight more diversity in the creative and in the casting.
Let's talk about the inclusion stuff. About like your media kit that you sent to us is awesome. You talk about engaging millennials and Generation Z and BIPOC communities and all of these things. And obviously we're big fans of yours. The stuff that you've done in general is incredible. What advice would you give a younger version of you, a person of color or a woman who is trying to break into this game, or I guess anybody in general? But you have a really unique experience because Alex and I are white dudes, and you know what? Like the white dude still has a lot of power. Like when people are like, oh, it's so hard to be a white guy, bro. It's the easiest thing ever. You know what I mean? So, but for anybody, white dudes as well, what's some of that advice, and how do you go forward with really becoming this entrepreneur? Like, how do you get that adventure in your life?
I want to start off first by saying, like, when I talk about inclusivity, it's not excluding white people at all. Like,
I don't take it that way.
Yeah. No, I just wanted to put it out there because people will say like, oh, you hate white people. I'm like, no, that's not not at all the case. But it's about just shaking up the bag a little bit to reflect what today's audiences look like. So like 53% of millennial and Gen Z identify as multicultural. The other 37%, no, 47, is it 47? Yeah, 47% are Caucasian or white. So like, let's have our media reflect that,
Yeah.
Secondly, I think the important things to know are, you just got to do it, because you're going to hear all the advice and then you'll be like, okay, people are going to tell you to just get started. People are going to tell you it's going to be really hard. People are going to tell you to keep iterating. I think one is learning and recognizing that starting a business or starting something is actually about consistency over anything. It's about like confidence and execution are muscles that you need to exercise regularly. I say that because first off is like the confidence when you first start. You feel, or at least I felt very uncomfortable being like, hey, I'm trying to start this. Hey, I'm a founder. Hey, I'm starting a business. I still to this day don't feel like I'm a real agency or a real business, Sometimes there's moments, but there's still a lot of times where I'm like, I don't know if we're not real,
Yeah.
And I think that comes from confidence, and the confidence only comes from being consistent in the actions that lead you to where you want to be. So it's going to networking events and telling people your pitch. What are you trying to do? It's even if you don't have clients, it's making spec work. It's learning the craft. But a lot of it has to be about doing the thing consistently. It's like one of my favorite episodes of this show. Oh my God, which I'm blanking on right now. Judd Apatow, like 90s show about high school kids.
Freaks and Geeks.
Yes, thank you. Freaks and Geeks. This is like the quintessential moment is like one of the characters, he wants to learn how to play the drums and he's staying and like his friend's dad is like, if you wanted to learn how to play the drums, like just because you don't have a drum set, like that's not an excuse. You should take your 2 sticks and go practice on a rock. So that's kind of where I would say it's like, even if you don't have the materials, you don't have the experience, you don't have the network, you just have to start with the smallest thing that you can do, the MVP.
I love that. I love the use of the MVP. And actually, it's one of the things I love about working with Alex because he is the person that will teach himself something, try it, and be like, oh shit, I don't have no idea. I'm going to suck at this. I don't know what I'm doing. And then all of a sudden kind of get good at it. But before I know Alex is going to show you something, but I wanted to point something out.
It's a video.
Yeah. Yeah. It's my bad. It's a safe video, safe for work video.
It doesn't have to do with American Psycho, right?
No.
No.
But you talk about like something that we really try to embody in our show. Like we want our show to feel exclusive and inclusive at the same time, like your parties, right? Like exclusive, like, oh shit, this is a cool VIP thing, but inclusive, like everybody should come up in here, right? If you want to hang out. And I love that you take that approach because you back up that saying. A lot of people talk about inclusivity or like community and it's just talk. And I love for you that it's not. So it is super grateful you're sharing this shit, man. Super appreciate it.
And your advice on like pitching your, like, there's been so many times early on where we're trying to sell our show and like we got it down now when we talk to people about it and we know where we're going to chime in and we know how to, but like you just got to keep telling people about it. But early on, when people are asking us like the name of it, everyone's like uncomfortable with the name of it at first. And it just becomes this like, oh, you're making a YouTube show. And you just got to keep saying it and act with confidence. Cause otherwise people will treat it exactly like you pitched it. Like they're going to treat it as nothing. Oh, it's a hobby. Like it took a while for all of our friends and family to look at it and be like, oh shit. Like you guys hang out together and have fun, but like, it's a lot of work.
If you can't take yourself seriously, nobody else will. And I still get nervous, like feel like, oh, you have a show. And I kind of try to change the subject and be like, yeah, thanks. So tell me what you're doing. And my wife was really good about that. She's like, you need to stop doing that because they're asking you about something that they're interested in. And this is what you're doing to make money and you enjoy it. You need to. So I'm glad you said that, Alex. That's really what it is, man.
Yeah. You have to remind yourself that you can take up space. And just because you're new doesn't mean that you don't belong there. When you're new, first of all, I think people should remember that your first like 100 times saying it, it's going to be shitty. It's going to be awkward. You're going to be so uncomfortable talking about it. And as often as you need to repeat it to other people so that they get the idea, you're kind of like repeating it for yourself to feel it as well.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and believe it that it's real. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to show you a video clip. We're going to play this clip. I already know your answer to the original question, so I've adjusted it because you've traveled quite a bit. But I'm going to play the clip, and then we'll follow up on the question.
I'm nervous. Okay. I was going to say yes already. Yeah, I'm down.
Would you be willing to press the button and take your chances?
So real quick, for the people that are listening to this at work, like our friend Ariel listens to this at work, you didn't see the video. Heineken did this thing called travel roulette. So they randomly stopped people in real airports and were like, hey, dude, you want a free trip anywhere in the world? And you had to say yes or no on the spot without knowing where you were going. So that's what we just watched.
Okay. So you're in this situation. You're going to a big pitch for your business. You. And it's a pitch. It's not a bit. Well, we won't say it's like a life or death pitch. It's a pitch. So you're going somewhere important.
Mm-hmm.
Would you do this? And where would be the one place you would like try your hardest to back out of?
To back out of? What do you mean?
Yeah, like it hit some place and you're like, I'll go anywhere. Oh my God, I don't want to go there.
Okay. I think I would be down for that just to hit yes, like maybe like 85 to 90%. unless it was like something really important, like, you know, I was about to say my niece's birthday, but I was like, I don't know, maybe I would skip it. No offense,
I hope
but
your niece isn't listening. Yeah, yeah.
Depends on birthday. Yeah.
they're young. It's okay.
Okay,
I love
cool.
them all though. Yeah, unless it was something really, really important, like, oh, like if I had a shoot, like a photo, like, you know, we produce shoots, I wouldn't do it because there's so many crew and everyone involved. You can't do that. A place, so yeah, 85 to 90%, hell yes. And the place where I would not want to go is I don't want to say it right now.
What a tough question.
Oh, I would not want to go to Gaza right now. Or Israel.
Wow. That's a really real and honest answer right there.
It's just not safe. So I'm sorry to be dark right now.
There's a lot of places I don't know that I'd want to go on a whim. But that's definitely probably one. So I agree with you.
And you have to go with the pissy caveman from the Geico commercials, the guy that's always upset about everything. So he's your travel companion to Gaza too. So enjoy that.
Oh, they should stick you with a random person, like a really like you didn't know, or like a celebrity. You don't know which one's gonna come out the door and sit next to you. That'd be cool too.
Yeah,
that's an old campaign. It's a really good campaign. It's an old one.
Yeah. I've done solo traveling before. So like you don't know who you're gonna meet at a hostel. You don't know who you're gonna meet on these trips. So I'm kind of down for it.
So you've done a lot of solo traveling. Like what was the craziest experience you've had? And like because there's probably like a lot of good ones, but like one where like you were almost like, I'm ready to go home. Like what was some crazy thing that happened that you're like, are you homesick the whole time, or you meet some crazy person? Like what, some dude with American Psycho book? Like what was it?
It was mad.
It was on a subway like 10 years ago.
I think this was the craziest one was when I was in Peru. I was by myself and I was getting ready to do Machu Picchu, but I think I had just gotten there. So, you know, you kind of have to get like acquainted because it's a very high altitude. So you kind of have to like just kind of chill in the town of Cusco before you go up. So I had got there. I had my phone in my pocket. At the time, I was like an iPhone like 6. So it was like the newest iPhone. And I'm walking around trying to I had gotten lunch or dinner or something, and the sun's starting to set. And I'm like, I have the worst directions. I like get lost all the time, even in my own neighborhood. So I was like, shit, I gotta find this hostel before I get lost. And I'm walking up and down the same street, and I'm like, I swear to God, it was somewhere around here. And as I'm walking, I kid you not, okay, so I'm like walking, and someone bumps into me, and I look down, and she's making it look like I stepped on her hat, and she's like yelling at me, and I'm like, what? Oh my God, I'm so sorry. This hat wasn't here a second ago. So as I like walk away, she walks up ahead and she's cursing at me. And then she takes something, she throws it, and it lands on my forehead, and it's wet, which might have been spit. I have no idea what it was. So when I went to do this, someone took their hand and shoved it in my pocket to steal my phone and tried to steal it. And keep in mind, I'm by myself. It's like a very crowded street, and I'm from Brooklyn. So I'm not tough at all, but like the Brooklyn came out. I was like, yo, back the fuck up, son. Like, I don't know where this came from. I was like, bitch, you better back up. And like, I'm a little, and in Peru, you know, I'm a little bit taller. I'm 5'7". So most of the people there are a little bit shorter. So everybody stopped and turned around and looked at me at that point. So it kind of made them scatter off and run away.
That was a good method to steal someone's phone, though. They like totally distracted you.
It was like a top hat too, by the way. Like, who the fuck wears top hats anymore?
or like you just like, oh, I just stepped on this thing that wasn't here. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And fun fact about this is I finally made it back to the hostel afterwards, and I went into the dining, like the kitchen area, and I was like freaking out. You know, I was like, oh my God. And there's a girl who was standing there. She's making herself a sandwich. And I go, oh my God, do you speak English? And she was like, yes. You know, because again, hostel people from all over the world. And she's like, yes. And I was like, can I just tell you the craziest story that happened to me? And I told her, and she's one of my best friends, and she's from Norway. And we've been friends for the past like 8 years now. And I just went to visit her in Norway. She's come visit me in New York like 3 times. So yeah, friendship can
All
happen.
from that one moment. That's super
Yes.
cool.
Oh, awesome. Things happen for a reason sometimes.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
All right. So you throw a lot of baller parties for a lot of different people, and we also like to throw a lot of parties ourselves. So what are some of the ground rules and basics for you, for people that are listening, on how to throw a party where people that come to the party can totally be themselves and just get at it? So some of your ground rules for parties, how do you do it?
Always. Okay. So what type of party? Is this friend party or a networking party?
Friend party.
Friend party. You always got to have food. Always, always, always. You got to have bite-sized food. You got to have like, I'm Asian, like you got to feed the people who are coming to your place. So always have food, plenty of liquor, and plenty of food, any non-alcoholic beverages, because a lot of younger folks or just people don't drink anymore.
Yeah.
But I think it's kind of doing icebreakers, because for some people, just talking to people is really hard, like talking to new people. So if I'm inviting a bunch of people who don't know each other, and I do a lot of picnics in the summertime once it's nice, and I invite all of my friends, I kind of tell everyone, like, you have to either talk to someone new at one point, like make everyone do it and engage in it. Or we used to throw singles events. So we had these like bingo cards for people, and it'd be like, find someone who's wearing a purple shirt, or like find someone who's from the same town as you, or like buy a stranger a shot. So people had an activity that they were forced to interact. So I would say creating forced interactions and a lot of alcohol and food.
That's a brilliant idea, the bingo card. So we used to throw a party called the Top 6 party, where you'd bring like your 6 favorite songs. We create like a master playlist and you put it on a board. I'm like, oh, I didn't know you like that band, but that bingo idea is better than that. What was the prize though if I got bingo? Like what do I get for being the first?
Oh, so we did. So these would take place at a bar. So then you would so if you and someone else would do it, you got to win a shot with like whoever the person was.
Awesome. Love it.
So you said picnic. In this episode, we threw an awesome picnic, but we were in somewhere. So we were, where we threw it, we were at like the highest point in the 4 counties around Syracuse. And so you could see like everywhere. It was like, I don't know, what is it? Your visual, what's it called, Matt?
Yeah, it's the optical limit. Like this place, the lady that owns it, like you can like it's basically got removed from Google Maps somehow. Like people can't find it. But when you stand there, you can see like 50 miles in either direction. You can see as far as your eyes allow you to.
So we went to this place because it was off the beaten path. It was, kind of climbing up this weird hill, this high grass. If you were going off with one of these, cool picnics somewhere different, what food would you bring?
Some edible.
And that's it. Call it a day.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't really partake that often, but I feel like this would be a really cool one. Food wise, I mean, I'm always a big fan of sandwiches, Italian sandwiches. I am known to bring a charcuterie board like for my picnics. So I bust out the wooden, what is it called? The cutting board, the meats, the cheeses, the crackers, and everyone. It's good for people because it's like a little fancier, but everyone can nibble on it.
Yep. That's a really good one. Okay. So one other question about this, like locations, places like that. One of the things that we try to do, you create playlists and music that everybody can vibe to. I think we do a good job at it, and I'm sure you do too, but it's harder to do than people think. So what type of music are you laying out for one of these parties? Friends, singles, whatever, like what's the music going to set the vibe? How are you doing that?
Everyone makes fun of me about this, but it's always early 2000s music. It's always early 2000s, or like, even if it's a nice day, it's like Sublime, some like chill, tropical.
Sublime would be good picnic music.
Right?
Super chill, fun though. Yep.
Yes, vibey.
I recently got turned on to Lana Del Rey's cover of the Sublime song "Doing Time."
It's so good.
It's so good, dude. It's got this chill vibe. I mean, the lyrics is pretty sad. Like you're in an abusive relationship. You're like, this song's so good and sweet. I love it.
Yo, you just blew my mind.
Yeah,
you're so right.
she's doing time, like the guy, like or whatever the relationship is, like they won't talk to me, they're out sleeping with everybody else, our love's on a shelf, I'll just have to play with myself. Like, and then the last verse is like, the tension is getting hotter. I want to hold her head underwater.
Underwater.
Right? Yeah.
Wow.
Oh my God. Yo, first of all, Alex, he would. He's American Psycho.
Yeah. Yeah. No
Oh,
wonder
man.
you knew that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to
You're
jail.
like, hey, random person on the subway, you want to hear about these lyrics? I printed them out for you.
It's got.
Speaking
ahead.
of psychos, then, right? Because you got to put them, on the electric chair. It's time to ride the lightning, Chau. So we have a lightning round. We're going to throw you, Alex, I'm going to take turns, 6 questions that give you 2 options, and you've got to give us an answer and then a reason why.
Okay. I'll keep my answer short.
No, your answers are awesome, dude. So you do what you got to do, babe.
Okay.
Alex, go for it.
You want me to go? Okay. Let's see. If you got a new client for your agency, who would you rather have, Nat Geo or the Travel Channel?
Nat Geo. Oh, wait. I don't know. Maybe Travel Channel. Nat Geo, because you could be fucking with like animals and stuff. Like that'd be dope. But it's really long and slow, and like you have to wait. It takes them like months and months to capture something. So I would say Travel Channel. You get to eat cool stuff and meet cool people.
You'd get one job out of Nat Geo a year. That'd be it. It'd be like the whole year, and you'd have no other capacity.
Yeah, like you're like watching like lemurs hump and stuff. No. Okay. Travel Channel.
Okay.
So awkward.
I think lemurs humping will be weird too, because their eyes are always wide open, like they're surprised, like, you know what I mean? Like, oh shit. But their ring tails are cool. But then do you hold the tail? Like, is that part of the mix? I don't know. Okay. Who do you want to try? And Alex is already Googling right now, like lemurs having sex. So,
I know what he's gonna do Friday night now.
Yeah, that's after.
Okay, you have to pick one of the following 2 fictional characters to be your travel partner. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Carmen Sandiego or James Bond?
Carmen Sandiego.
Interesting.
Here's why. I was Carmen Sandiego for Halloween one year. She's a badass. Also, I feel like James Bond would be like ditching me to go hook up with random chicks, and like he's constantly getting chased. Like I don't want to die. Carmen Sandiego is like a travel girlie, you know?
Well,
Really?
she's getting chased too. Like she's lost, and people are looking for her.
Oh wait, really? Okay, I don't remember.
I
Wait,
mean, she's like a spy, isn't she?
She's what?
Isn't she like a spy? Like, what is she? Why are people looking for her?
Because I was gonna give 10 points to Gryffindor for Chau's answer, but now I'm thinking like, because I think you're more of I think you're borderline Slytherin or Gryffindor, because you're cool but you got a dark side. But I don't know about Carmen's a super thief, Susan says. So there we go, Susan.
Good. She's stealing it for the, yeah, she should be stealing.
James Bond will be hunting her probably.
Susan says she's a badass. Okay, so that's a good discussion, because I also would have thought, is it Carmen Sandiego or Where's Waldo? But he looks like a tool. You know what I mean?
He's the clown. Change your shirt.
Yeah. Where's Waldo? I wouldn't go anywhere with. Yeah.
What a loser, Waldo.
Okay.
What an avoidant.
Would you rather be lost in a maze or stranded on a desert?
Stranded on a desert. Oh, well, wait. Stranded on a desert, because I'm like, oh, you could chill, you can tan, you could enjoy the beach, but lost in a maze, you could eventually get. Are we stuck at the same time?
There's no beach though. It's just like
it's not a beach. There's no water,
Oh,
dude.
You're right.
It's a desert. Like there's no like you're probably gonna be thirsty. A maze, at least you can like maybe get out of. I don't know. Desert's like. So what's your answer? What'd you land on?
Oh, I think it'd be a maze. I don't know why I thought when you said desert, like I thought of like a desert island. Like
Oh,
there's a cool beach or get stuck in a maze. No, it's like
There's
the
Tulum.
desert's probably the worst. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a tough question. That's a really tough question. So here's another one that I'm curious about your answer. So you're gonna go have a really cool time with 2 of your favorite homeboys, and you're just gonna party or explore whatever, either in a really cool old school place like an old Italian city, or a place that's like super new, high energy, like the Neon District in Tokyo, like super new school or super old school travel adventure.
And I'm with my two besties.
Yeah.
That'd be Ema and Sandy. Shout out to Ema and Sandy. I think we would have more fun in the old school place. And
Okay.
that's because we just like characters. So we would be like, we love history stuff. So we'd just be getting into all sorts of trouble. And me and Sandy went to Dubai before, and that was fun. But everything's like so new.
Yeah.
It wasn't as vibey. Like I want to see some old shit.
Okay. Dope answer.
Okay, so superpower, invisibility or reading people's mind?
Okay, well, I don't know if I want to do reading people's minds because, like, what if they're thinking nasty or like negative things? Invisibility, I could go to a bank and peep at some secret codes. And
that's too creepy. Let me rob some people. Okay.
The Carmen San Diego thing is coming to light. Yeah, coming out.
100%. I'm using it for my benefit. What would you use? What would you guys do?
I would, if I could turn the mind reading on and off, I would choose that.
Mm-hmm.
But if I had to hear if it was like that movie where you just hear everyone's thoughts the whole time, I would hate that. So I would do invisibility.
What woman what?
Yeah, with Mel Gibson.
Yeah,
he
such a great movie, by the way.
I wouldn't want that, but I would. Invisible would be cool. Although, like after a while, you're just invisible, and like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, like flying.
Flying would be cool,
right?
Flying would be cool. Yeah, invisibility is cool-ish. Like if I'm embarrassed, I want to get out of the situation. But like I don't want to be creeping up on seeing people dress or anything, like get undressed. Like invisibility, like I don't know where it's actually going to be really useful.
Yeah.
I'd use it to get into like sporting events or concerts. I just like go in and like stand on the ice at a hockey game. Well, not on the ice, but near the ice.
And like sneak into like VIP areas and like
yeah.
Okay, that's dope.
But do you get to hang out? Like if someone bumps into you, do they feel you?
Well, then I'd be visible again. I'm like, I'm here, motherfucker. Time to party.
As soon as you come back to life, like you bring your invisibility up, that they're going to be like, hey, you got to, you could hang for a while, but it's like sneaking in somewhere. So they're going to kick you out there.
The mind reading thing seems like it could be fun, but I also like, the creepy stuff would be bothersome, but also like, you'd also like be talking to one of your friends and be like, oh my gosh, I love Alex so much. And he's actually like, oh my God, how can I kill this guy? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that might make me a little nervous. Oh, okay. Shit.
Yeah.
The last one of our lightning round is one that I would like to hear your opinion on it.
Yeah.
So what do you think is better for becoming the full-fledged person? Do you think it's education or learning something, or do you think it's from just like real world experience and failing? So experience or education, what do you think you learn better from?
For me, experience, hands down. And that's because you can read about, like with a startup, you can read about all the things to do, but it's through the experiences of other people. And it's so different for who you are and what you go through. So I would say experience 100%.
And the best things about higher ed, the moments in higher ed where you learn are because you get to go do cool shit, or you get to go internships and you get to do the experience. So that's the only way. I agree by far, like not even a vote there.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think education through other people's experiences is good, but I'd have to agree. But what were you going to say, Chau?
Oh, unless you're like a doctor or something. I don't know. Like you still need to learn stuff, but
yeah, you still got to go through like I'm making up doctor terms here, like rotationals or like something like that, residencies or something.
Matt's also a professor, so it's interesting. Your answer was experience.
Well,
sorry, my cat was meowing. Wanted to be a part of
I just had a cat here, but he just walked away.
Oh man, I'm not a big cat person, so I'm out.
Yeah, how dare you?
No. Matt's cats will be on a call, and Matt's cats will just be like, their tail will be like hitting Matt in the face, and they'll be walking by, and he'll just pretend like nothing's going on. And it's so distracting when the cat's walking by and like flashing the camera.
They're awesome.
Or we used to do calls together where we like sit on Matt's couch and the cat would be like on me. And I'd be like, dude, can you get this thing out of here? I cannot focus.
One of our first big clients was Tito's, and we were like really excited to land this business. And like we're sitting there and like Alex trying to take it serious, and all of a sudden like this cat's like crawling across him and walking through there. And instead of like acknowledging it, he just acted like it wasn't happening. You know what I mean?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah. So the experience answer was great. And in reality, this has been an awesome experience for us. I'm sure for the people listening. So what do you want to tell the world to wrap this thing up, Chau? Tell the world, tell anybody something cool and what they should know about you or about us.
I would say that if you want to make the world a better place, you should make the world around you a better place. So whatever you can do for your community, your friends, your family to make it a happier, safer, nicer place, try to do it. Because I think that I believe in compounding. So if you're able to do something small to help, you're kind of adding to, I don't know, maybe the positive energy in the world. So that's my mission, is I try to be like a little bit of positivity in the world whenever I can. And I hope that people feel inspired to believe in themselves and to go after something that they want to do. And if they want to check out my agency or learn a little bit more about what I'm doing, they can check me out at Chau Media, which is CIAOOO3Os media.com.
Totally, dude. Chau, you've made the world a better place for us. You are awesome, and we're grateful for it. So on behalf of Spatchcock Nation and anybody else that might click onto this thing, thank you so much. You rule. Spatchcock out.
Thank you both so much.
Yeah.